I'll play with you. You wanna clear up? Say hello to my little friend!
This is the story of a man who had everything and lost it all. To video poker. What is going on, guys? My name is Dpurdd, and today we're going to be assessing Scarface, The World Is Yours on the PlayStation 2 from top to bottom, diving deep into everything it has to offer and ultimately answering if it still stands the test of time nearly 20 years after the game's original release. Before we start, these videos take a ton of time to make. If you enjoy, please leave a like, comment letting me know how you like this video and which games you'd like to see me cover moving forward, and consider subscribing. Let's begin. Developed by Radical Entertainment and published by Sierra, originally released on October 8th, 2006 in North America for the PS2, original Xbox, and PC, with a Curveball edition featuring enhanced graphics being released on the Wii in 2007. Scarface The World Is Yours is one of those games that passed by me upon release way back when as just another GTA clone. Except this one was also a licensed movie tie-in, so it was double bad, right? At its core, this is a third-person open-world crime sandbox set in a reimagined version of Miami. You're dropped into a fully explorable city where progression isn't solely tied to completing missions, it's about rebuilding Tony's empire.
The hotel will prosper under your control.
The game kicks off during the final scene of the movie, the ambush at Tony's mansion, but in this alternate universe, Tony doesn't die. Instead, he fights his way through waves of gang members and police, pushing through the mansion grounds before taking a bullet, barely escaping in a vehicle and fleeing to a safe house outside of Miami.
Hey, Sosa! You thought you could take me? No! No, I take Tony Montana down by me! You hear me, Sosa? You...
After resurfacing and making his way back to Miami, Tony heads over to George Sheffield's office. Canon to the universe, George is Tony's lawyer. George isn't in office, but we're instructed to visit the Babylon Club, another location from the movie, in search of him. We get there and the bouncer lets us know that Sheffield's inside, but so are a handful of Vice officials.
Around here. Is that Hossa Sheffield in the club?
Yeah, he in here. There's a couple of guys from Vice in here, too. Watch your back, Tony.
Thanks, man.
Sheffield ends up telling us to talk to a friend who runs a bar at Coconut Grove. Tony makes the decision to talk to Felix first, one of his associates, to see if he knows anything about the friend. And as we're leaving the club to go do that, we're held up by the Vice.
Okay, Tony, no more bullshit. You know how this works. We've got your mansion locked up tighter than a nun's ass, and if you want it back, you're gonna have to cough up the cash.
Great. We're being extorted for $10,000 in exchange for our property back, yet we have nothing but $1,000 in the clothes on our back. We meet up with Felix, who says he's interested in helping rebuild our empire. He tells us the woman at Coconut Grove is named Coco and says she can be trusted. As you can see, upon leaving that conversation, Felix has generously slid us 200 grams of an unknown substance. We meet up with Coco, and while she never makes an appearance in the movie, she does make a hint at either Manny or Angel without name dropping.
You were with another man, tall, good-looking Cuban guy.
Oh, you got a good memory, Tiger.
During this conversation, she essentially tells us that she's willing to act as a front for our business, and she goes on to hint at the influence of other businesses in the area. From this point, we go on to peddle powder around the bar, first practicing with Coco's dealer to ensure we have what it takes, and then in one quick transaction, making all $10,000 that we need to pay off the Vice for our mansion. Before continuing, it's worth mentioning the negotiation minigame that plays out here. Whenever you're making deals, buying product, laundering money, or dealing with the police, a meter moves across the screen, and the longer you let it run, the better the potential outcome. But if you push it too far and miss the sweet spot, the deal can fall apart entirely, either costing you money or raising your heat. It's a simple yet impactful risk versus reward system. Play it safe and you make less. Push your luck and you either win big or lose everything. We go and deliver the $10,000 to the Vice and reclaim our mansion. We take a little walk through it, and yeah, it's gonna need some work. Anyway, that's reputation level 1 in the bag. We speak to Felix on the phone and learn a little about Gaspar, one of Tony's rivals in the drug game, before going to pay his penthouse a visit. In the process, we take out a ton of Gaspar's men, but Gaspar is out of town. We Shadow Realm his head of security, steal a phone for our personal use, and borrow an armored van that's down in the parking lot carrying $50,000 cash. We drive this van to the bank, walk inside, and try to make a deposit. But the bank teller wants us to speak with Jerry, who was a bank teller himself in the movie, but he's now worked his way up to the regional management position. And we gotta talk to him to see what kind of agreement we can come to regarding money laundering, because everybody knows this isn't clean money coming in here.
You've always been a good customer, I respect that, but I'm running a legitimate business here, and I'm gonna keep it that way. I'll open a new account for you, but you have to allow my bank to take a percentage out of your deposits to help cover the tracks.
And just like that, we're able to begin laundering our dirty money through banks. You can see, similarly to drug dealing, we have the same negotiation minigame, but this time we're betting on interest rates. The bank teller then goes on to hand us a catalog that's only issued to special clients. This catalog is the exotics menu, and we'll be talking about that later.
Felix,
Yeah, Felix. It's Tony.
did you get into Gaspar's penthouse? See what he's up to?
Yeah, the fat fuck wasn't there, but I managed to get a few things. I got this new phone, some sort of satellite voice tracking shit. I think the Russians made it. Those commies are probably listening to us right now, but I don't give a fuck. We got other things to worry about, man. Felix, we need to buy some kind of business, you know? We need like a front so we can increase the flow of product to the street.
We head over to Pedro's pawn shop, the first of many businesses in this game that Tony can work with, and we offer to buy the business off of the owner, who I'm assuming is Pedro. Before he agrees, we're tasked with completing a mission. This is a simple delivery mission in which we have to drop off 3 crates for him. After getting back, I realized that we still had to pay for the business. Pedro wanted $50,000 for this pawn shop, and as someone who was just extorted for nearly everything they had, I knew this was going to be an uphill battle. To make this money, we go and push Colombian flour around the streets of Miami. Small street level customers are marked as white dots all over the map. We managed to make just a little over $100,000 relatively quickly and banked it. And with the money in the bank, we take a drive over to Pedro's pawn shop and make the purchase. Our first front in the bag, and I'm going to be real, at this point in my playthrough, I had no clue how this front was going to make me any money. We get a phone call after making this purchase, and this call is from Gaspar Gomez. It seems that more than anything that went on in his penthouse, he's particularly angry about the phone that Tony stole.
Listen to me, Tony. I want my fucking phone back.
Sorry, Gaspar. You're breaking up. Must be like a satellite or something.
With $55,000 to my name and the need for reputation, I opened up the exotics menu, opened up the mansion tab, and renovated. I then went and purchased my first vehicle, a GPV off-road Jeep. Items purchased from the exotics menu increase your reputation, so you may find yourself in here often. My trip into the exotics menu ended up proving fruitful, as a simple trip back to the mansion would give us reputation level 2. As you can see, this is a much nicer place renovated. It's here that we get our first call from Alejandro Sosa, the man who ordered Tony's hit in the movie. Sosa says that he's heard about Tony's return to Miami and warns him not to overstep. From this point, we went and did exactly what Sosa asked us not to do. We made over $50,000 by pushing the white stuff. I made a deposit at the bank and then went on to continue redistributing when I learned a very serious lesson. This game can be very unforgiving. Guns do real damage to you. When you die, you have things on the line. If you're carrying drugs or any amount of dirty money on you, it's taken. Your weapons are not taken for some reason. That kind of confused me. I went on to talk to the owner of the Cabana Cigar, which is the second business that draws our attention in regards to a front.
Negocio, okay? Together, we bring in only the best.
Muy bien, but I can't sell you this store unless I get my papers back. My accountant ran off with a local thug, and together they're trying to take over the cigar market.
Wouldn't these papers be getting destroyed in the water? That's somebody else's problem. We make our way back and talk to the owner, but he wants $75,000 for this place, and we're a little short on it right now. With that said, we go and aid Felix and friends, garnering us enough money for the purchase. Instead of going and buying the cigar shop, though, we go and talk to the owner of the Oakley Drive-In movie theater, which is another front we have our eyes set on. It turns out he's got a problem with thugs messing around in his parking lot, and he wants us to take him out before selling us the place. I found this mission to be sort of annoying. It was kind of excessive. Anyway, with that, the Oakley Drive-In movie theater is now under the Montana Empire for the low price of $100,000. Now with just over $75,000, I made my way back to Cabana Cigar and purchased my third front. This left me with just $300 to my name, although my assets were growing. Instead of going straight to the Babylon Club for a drink that I know I couldn't afford, I made my way around Miami and sold some product to get my money up. And after a hard day's work, we're back up to like $80,000. We went over to the Babylon Club to celebrate, but instead, Tony has a bit of a Tony-style meltdown.
Is this it? Is this what it's all about? Killing, driving, dealing, swearing? Then what? You're 50, you got a bag for a belly, you got tits, you need a bra, They got hair on them.
From this point, Tony goes on an absolute rampage, taking out nearly every gang member in the club. A key member of the Diaz family, which is the family that's responsible for taking out Tony's mom, is the last one left, and he pokes the bear a little too hard.
Fuck you, Montana. The Diaz brothers send their regards. I hope they treated your mama well.
Anyway, Tony hasn't calmed down at all, and this is where the chainsaw comes out. If you've ever seen the movie, you know that Tony's best friend Angel is murdered via chainsaw by Hector the Toad during a failed drug deal. So we make our way through the supply house and garage, taking out everyone in our path, including Edgar, one of the Diaz brothers. The other brother, Alfonso, escapes in a car. We hop in the dealership display model and slime him out just right down the road. Magically, right next to where Alfonso is shadow realmed happens to be a storehouse ran by the Diaz brothers. Tony and two henchmen make their way through the storehouse area, taking out every gang member in their path, all while defending two vans filled with nose candy. This one can be challenging, and really you only have to keep one of them from being blown up, but even that is a challenge until you learn the enemy spawn pattern, so you're going to be trying it a couple times. After taking over the warehouse, we've taken over the little Havana area of the map, and we can begin running product around Miami in a different fashion. And this is where we can begin utilizing the fronts that we've been purchasing and start making some serious money. These larger supplier missions play out very differently. They are more involved than your standard street level deals. Once you meet with the supplier and secure the shipment, the real challenge begins. You're required to select a vehicle from your inventory and transport the product safely from the meeting point back to your warehouse. From your warehouse, you then distribute the product around to your fronts. During these missions, rival gangs will pursue you in vehicles, attempting to ram you off the road and gun you down before you can finish your route. In addition, they'll also be going after your businesses during these missions, which means you'll have to go and defend them while you've got all this cash or product on you. And while this adds a layer of tension and danger to the game, I can't help but feel like it shows a flaw. From here, you can go into specific businesses and purchase security upgrades for them. You can purchase a surveillance system and 5 henchmen per front. In theory, this would be useful. In practice, they are really only a liability that buy you more time before your business is completely destroyed. I ran this first route in my GPV off-road Jeep, only proving to me that speed was much more important than armor when it came to running these routes. Anyway, I ended up successfully covering all my fronts. We don't have many right now, so it's pretty easy to do that, and made it back to the bank with $338,000 from that. You can see how important this aspect of the game is. This is an insane amount of money to us at this point. At this point, our goal is to increase our reputation, and there's a simple but expensive way to do that. Do you remember that catalog that was handed over to us earlier by the bank teller? That is the exotics menu. Through here, we can purchase items such as cars, boats, mansion upgrades, furniture, and investments, amongst other things. Each item in this catalog gives you additional reputation when purchased. The items under the investments tab work a little bit differently because they still give you your reputation, but on top of that, they also give you unique permanent passive bonuses. Montana Records unlocks additional music for you to listen to, while others such as Montana Holdings reduce the cost of fronts to you by 10%. Montana Sports increases your maximum bet amount while gambling, and Montana Fitness increases your henchman's health by 50%, just to name a few. I went ahead and purchased Montana Records, which did the job at raising our reputation, but then also went ahead to pick up this bong, as well as an arms dealer. The arms dealer lives on our property where we can purchase weapons and ammo from at any point, and we'll get more into what you can do with the bong and other decor items later on. From here, we took a drive over to the mansion to obtain reputation level 3. We then got a call from somebody named Pablo, who apparently was working with Sheffield.
Well, your wife is Elvira.
Well, meeting with Pablo has just become top priority, after obtaining Manny and Gina's ashes, and after failing several drug smuggling routes. This last trip was my closest to success. I had forgotten that I needed to pull into the spot next to the bank as opposed to speaking with the teller, and I paid for it. I used this as a lesson and purchased the Koenig N29 for my routes moving forward. A $70,000 investment, but one that will prove fruitful. While it doesn't have armor protection, it's got the speed of a wildebeest. At this point, I just went ahead and forgot about Pablo altogether and started running drug routes in the Koenig. And only after I rizzed up some Miami Huzz did I finally go meet with Pablo. I stopped on the side of the road and had a quick wank to calm my nerves on the way to the meeting. This is a hidden sperm bank in which you can trade the balls you have in exchange for cash. Clever work, devs, clever work. We finally meet up with Pablo, and it turns out that it was a setup by Sheffield.
Where are we going?
Well, I thought it might be appropriate to meet up at the old Freedom Town. You know, when you got your start in America.
Freedom Town? That place was a fucking prison, man. There's nothing free about that one. I worked my way out of that.
But it goes down now. Good for private meetings. Shepko sends his regards. Have a nice trip.
We managed to fight our way through savages with machetes, but it turns out that Pablo didn't actually leave the scene. He's currently trying to escape via boat, but the problem with that is, our boat is better. In quick succession, Pablo becomes shark food, and we've unlocked the downtown district. On my way to O'Grady's liquor store, which is the next front in my sights, I get pulled over. To be fair, I was driving like I was blind, and I had a decent amount of heat with the police. And while I was able to evade this stop successfully and reduce my heat in the process, I think this is a good time to talk about heat. Performing illegal actions will cause your heat with the police to rise. Performing unjust actions to other gangs, including taking out their members or running drug routes, will cause your heat with gangs to rise. Maxing these out doesn't trigger a game over, but it does make the game dramatically more dangerous. You can take your money and pay down your heat levels with these two organizations in this menu from time to time, causing your experience to go a little smoother. Here's the kicker. To pay down your gang heat from maximum gets to be a lot, like over $1 million. Police heat is generally a little cheaper, and while these both scale with how far you are into the game, this can be a lot to manage. We make it to O'Grady's liquor store and find a voice actor who probably should have been replaced.
I'll buy this place from you. I got the cash right here. Just show me where to sign my name.
I'd love to, man, but I'm between a rock and a hard place full of assholes who want to destroy the business. A bunch of goons been trying to muscle in on my profits, and I've been tipped off that they're coming to shoot the place up any second.
Before we can buy it, we have to defend it. It's relatively simple.
Those cockroaches won't be coming back. You want to work for me now?
Oh, hell yeah, man. This place is yours if you want it, and I'll definitely keep working for you.
He wants $120,000 for it, which is pretty light at this point, so I don't even blink. Front four in the bag. With money to blow and nothing else to do but grow my reputation downtown, I head over to Fidel's Records and speak to the owner. Before purchasing it, we have to collect and destroy 3 mixtapes, which consist of following a guy in your vehicle until you can get him to get out of his, and then beating him by hand for them. With the mission accomplished, I made my way back to Fidel's and made it mine. Front number 5 in the bag. This is going pretty smoothly right now. Our next destination is the Babylon Club, and this is a big one. The objective here is to secure a VIP inside the club and protect him until he can safely escape the area.
Oh, your VIP is still alive, but the club is damaged goods, you know?
Perhaps we can work out a discounted price?
Even in its damaged state, purchasing the club will still cost the Montana Empire a steep $1 million. Since we don't have that at the moment, we took a trip to the Eugen Shotgun Bar, which was a smaller, likely more affordable business in the downtown area that we've had our eyes on. In order to purchase this one, we have to send this woman's ex to the Shadow Realm. You don't play this one as Tony, you play as his hired assassin. You have to go out to the middle of a waterway and snipe him based on the descriptors that the game gives you. Blue hat, purple jacket. So you sit here with your sniper looking at people on boats until you find your guy. It's kind of like Where's Waldo? With that done, the owner only wanted $80,000, and it's really a win-win. We need it for progression regardless, but it'll help us make more money at a quicker rate as we work toward the Babylon. And that's just what I did. I flipped product like pancakes, and before I knew it, I was a millionaire in cash. Now this wouldn't last long, as my next step was to purchase the Babylon Club, bringing me back down to $100,000. This is a decision that'll ultimately end up paying for itself like 20 times over. In the moment it stings, but it really does bring in a lot of money. Not to mention, that single purchase brought us so much reputation that we were able to take a trip back to the mansion and obtain reputation level 4. Doing this unlocks, amongst other things, $50,000 island suppliers, which are piquing my interest. Regardless, you can't do anything in this game without money, so I went ahead and ran some routes in order to fatten my pockets. I also started taking out some gangs, not due to progression, but particularly because the last member usually carries a large sum of cash. I found myself in the middle of this trailer park betting on bare knuckle boxing, and I'm either horrible at betting on this or the game just likes screwing me because I just lost and lost and lost. So many losses that I started making a ruckus in the trailer park and decided I should probably get back to civilization. When we got back, we hit the exotics catalog and purchased a Fellini to start hitting our routes in. A little less armor, but a little more speed. I don't even think I realized what I did here as I was playing, but I went and purchased the silencer upgrade for my pistol, which means police won't be notified as quickly whenever I'm using it. The issue is because I don't use the pistol anymore, so that's $50,000 down the toilet. I also went and upgraded the micro SMG with a stock, which is something I'll use, but it's still another $44,000 down. It's at this point as I'm running powder around Miami that I get my very first This mechanic triggers when you fill the square heat bar on the map by committing illegal actions. Once it fills all the way up, that's it. You're fucked. There's no escaping it. You're dead. And honestly, I kind of think this is a dumb system. Now, it wouldn't be such a problem if the game gave you some sort of way to recover or drop your heat, but that's it. Like, once it triggers, it's literally game over for you. I eventually built up enough reputation to take over Marina Storage, bringing it into the Montana Empire and securing control of the downtown district. The mission itself is a full-scale shootout through the storage facility, culminating in a helicopter attack finale. After claiming downtown, we get a call from the Sandman, who tells us that we share a similar goal of deleting Sosa. He sends us an invite to come down to the islands and talk business. After taking care of some business around town, I line my pockets with another $1.6 million.
You got big fee for a lady.
Why would you say that, man? She gave you a good rate. It's at this point, with a bank full of cash, that I thought a float plane would be a good investment. It's neither a boat nor a plane, but a fast travel mechanic that Tony can use whenever he's at a dock or in the water. It takes you to any dock in the game in the matter of a loading screen, making it incredibly easy to get into the islands and meet up with the Sandman. And the islands are a really welcoming place. We end up making it to the Sandman. He controls drug flow around the islands, and now that we have storehouses around Miami, we decide this could be a good partnership. Aside from the partnership in the drug business, we also have that common goal in mind still.
I like the way you work, Montana. Showing up here with no backup. That takes balls.
Hey, I figure you want me dead easier to kill me in Miami, right? Besides, like you said, I don't die so good.
That's true. Let's focus on Sosa, huh? We both want him dead.
Feeling parched and piggybacking off of a recommendation from the Sandman, we head down to the Venus Bar, which we already are somewhat familiar with as it's where we docked initially when we came to the islands. We speak with Venus, Sandman's ex, who runs the bar, and learn some key information about
Nacho Contreras, the fat fuck with no neck.
From this point, we're instructed to gain reputation on the island by speaking with customers standing around the bar and solving their problems. I spoke with this gentleman whose daughter has been kidnapped by the Colombians. Geez, these aren't simple problems we're solving over here. Anyway, I go to collect her and escort her back to her father at the bar. She got stuck at several points during this mission, and I'm just wondering, did the Dead Rising developers study the AI behavior in this game before working on theirs? 30 minutes later, and we got her back safely. I hopped on this boat by the dock and decided to leave the island out of frustration. After a grueling trip back to the mansion, I decided to relax by going on a spending spree. This included vehicles, boats, and furniture. Before continuing, we need to circle back to the furniture of all things for just a second because this game was incredibly ambitious. There was a feature in this game known as Pimp My Mansion, and since Tony's life was stripped away from him and everything was destroyed, you get to put everything back together, room by room. All of the furniture and all of the oddities you purchase don't just give you reputation. You can literally place these pieces down and personalize the mansion like this was Animal Crossing. An incredibly ambitious feature that added to the experience in a small way, but it could have been better. For example, you can purchase a giant bong or a telephone booth, two non-functioning items, while you can't purchase a blackjack table, an item that would get you actual use in the mansion. Maybe we don't need that blackjack table after all. It was at this point that I realized we may have spent a little too much for sustainability. Anyway, just one quick route around my fronts now and I'm back up to being a millionaire. That wouldn't last long though. My only goal was to purchase exotics in order to gain reputation so I could advance. Over $600,000 later, along with the drive back to the mansion, would bring us reputation level 5. With this, I purchased the assassin and then go on to upgrade my AK. I first pick up this double clip attachment, which is basically speed cola, and then this shotgun attachment that turns it into a hybrid weapon. And although we didn't cheap out on all these weapons, the next part of our story gets interesting. After completing a Felix lead, I was only given the option to meet up with a small supplier. With that, I went on to try completing another one. And in doing so, I ended up pushing my luck, losing all my dirty money and product without even a chance. With $50,000 to my name and a $38,000 car repair bill, I did what any financially responsible person would do and repaired the car. At this point, I decided to settle for the small supplier and slowly build my cash back back up to the point where I could meet with a large supplier. Back on the islands with $50,000 down, and the supplier tried setting me up. I ended up getting to the boat with the product on it, but unfortunately, now I'm down to just $11,000. After picking up 100 grams of product and paying down my gang heat a little bit, I was left with just over $1,000. With that, I made my way over to Nacho's boat in order to confront him. I ended up getting a little distracted though. You see, Nacho runs a fun operation around here. I bet my last $1,000 on bare knuckle boxing and now we're sitting with just $260 in the bank, no cash on us, and no product on us. This is the worst position we've been in this entire game. We end up fighting our way through Nacho's gang on his boat and taking him out in the ocean where he's eaten by a shark. I went to go speak with a dock worker regarding Nacho's activities, but this turned into another shoot and defend mission. It brought us $100,000, which seemed like life-changing money at that point, but after spending as close to all of it as possible on defense for my fronts, I was back down to like $600. And this is what I would call the in the weeds part of the game. When you're down, you are really down in this game. It's a constant struggle because you are constantly needing money to pay off your heat with gangs and police, or the game just gets that much more difficult for you. And it was here at my lowest where I met her. This game features slot machines, video poker, and blackjack. What I'm saying is you can scratch your gambling itch while taking a break from running your drug empire, and that's exactly what I did. With $30,000 to my name, I went and floated video poker thinking I was going to turn my $30,000 into $1 million, until I looked up and saw that I had just a little over $5,000 to my name, and then I played it. Alright, well now I'm literally at the point where I can't afford gas in my car, just $20 in the bank, no product to sell, and no cash in my pockets. I managed to pull $200,000 from taking out gang members around Miami, which was huge. I paid off nearly all of my cop heat and a significant chunk of my gang heat before depositing a little over $60,000. It's not much, but you gotta restart somewhere. I went on to fumble a $2 million payday at this point, and when you're down to just $60,000, that one stings a lot. I didn't fumble the next one though. From here we played Search and Destroy on Nacho's tanker boat. This mission is fun because it's a little bit different from what we've been doing thus far. My only gripe with it is that it's very unforgiving, so if you miss one of these bomb defusals, you're restarting the entire mission. After taking out the captain, we end up commandeering the boat.
Look at me, sure. I'm the captain now.
We end up docking along South Beach, unlocking that area of the map, only to be jumped by hordes of gang members right off the ocean. We head toward Macau fast food and speak with the owner regarding how we can help out in exchange for the purchase of this establishment. He has a wedding party who wants shark fin soup, and we have to go assist the boat in gathering the shark fins. I don't have anything bad to say about this one. It's just a defense mission in the ocean, but it's skin better than a lot of other missions in this game. And for a light $200,000, we acquire Macau's fast food as we begin to establish a footprint in the South Beach area. Next up is
Cipeso Trattoria. Okay, right now. You sell me your business, work for me, I'll make more money than you can imagine. I provide you security as well.
I can imagine plenty of money, and I don't need your tiny protection. I control my own destiny. I killed a mob boss just yesterday because he was so fucking fat.
The owner talks a big game about how he doesn't need protection, but when push comes to shove, he ends up accepting his fate and agreeing to sell his business. This greased up chungus wants $2 million for this spot though, and with not $2 million to my name, I decided to pivot. To sum up my next several hours of gameplay in 2 words, drug routes. Over here on the islands, we have access to larger amounts of product than we do in Miami. So you travel to the islands to meet up with a supplier and get it for the low, and then go back to Miami to distribute it. Because it'd be cheesy, you're not able to just fast travel in the float plane. This means you have to choose any other boat you've purchased and take to the seas. Generally, these are pretty boring routes. You'll run into like 1 or 2 attack boats on the water and very occasionally an attack helicopter. Honestly though, it's kind of likely that you'll run into nothing. Once you get back into Miami, you'll have to avoid the Coast Guard. Coast Guard spawns can be manipulated as well, so these don't really add difficulty either. From the islands, in best case scenarios, you can be carrying upwards of 20 to 30 kilos on you, making this boring boring time investment worth it. You see? From here, we took a trip over to the Chipeso restaurant and purchased it. With a significant amount of money to blow still, we sought out the Swan Song Hotel. Here we have to help the owner with a lawyer who embezzled money from them. It's said that the lawyer is getting on their yacht, so we head down to the docks. We fight through waves of gang members before hopping into an attack boat and tearing after the lawyer's yacht. Once we catch up, it's not even a fight. This thing cuts through the yacht like a hot knife through butter. With that out of the way, the Swan Song Hotel is finally up for sale. Priced at a staggering $5 million, but sitting on over $9 million in the bank, this barely made a dent. I went right next door to the Sunray Hotel, which in the movie is where Angel got handled Gears of War style. The owner has a crazy drug dealer in a room upstairs and she wants us to talk to him, ensuring that he won't be back. He ends up taking off and we end up racing after him. By this point in the game, I had a Bacchanari, but it wouldn't matter. This is a scripted event. The drug dealer ends up hopping into a helicopter, which is the worst thing he could have done. After helping out the owner, she wants $5 million, which is understandable. That's what we just bought the Swan Song for, right next door. At this point, I was getting a little bit worn down of the loop of running deals and doing missions, so I went and moved so much product that we had over $20 million. The idea behind this to mitigate the monotony. And our first order of business with the newly acquired wealth was to purchase the Sunray, and we ended up acquiring enough reputation primarily through upgrading the mansion to garner us reputation level 6. Damn, this place is looking good. Anyway, that's all the fronts in South Beach taken care of, and now our goal is to take over Shoreline Storage. This one is locked up in the front, so we have to use a ramp around the side and hop the fence. We then have to go through and take out gang member after gang member, deal with the manager of the warehouse, and then plow through attack boat after attack boat down by the docks. These things are soft as muffins, but they can be brutal. And with that, the South Beach area of the map is complete. From here, we get word that Nacho's tanker landed at the industrial park, and naturally, it wasn't traveling empty-handed.
We need trucks to move this shit.
This is really where you can see a power dynamic shift in the way that Tony is treated. His reputation isn't just a number on the screen, he has people working for him. To start this one, we have to go find 3 transport trucks and aid the drivers with a safe in and out. And it's here that we take out Hervé Colossus. He plays an incredibly small role in this game, like so small I had to look him up, but apparently he's Nacho's right-hand man. With Colossus dead and the trucks back at the warehouse, we're ready to head out and drop this load off. Tony's carrying 15 kilos in his truck heading to the Marina storehouse, with Dominic right behind following as a decoy. We've also got Maribel with 15 kilos heading to the Havana storehouse. Honestly, I probably would have been more excited to come into 30 kilos if I hadn't just put in work for hours bringing powder back from the islands. Anyway, this mission is what you would expect. A lot of gang vehicles slowing you down, Dominic not knowing what a decoy is, Maribel not knowing how to properly drive. This was one of those missions that was slightly annoying because part of it revolves around the AI, which has the intelligence of a hamster. With our storehouse is filled with product, we now have the final section of the map unlocked, North Beach. Through our activities, we've also garnered enough reputation to head back to the mansion and collect reputation level 7. From the mansion, it's straight over to North Beach because we have a few more businesses to purchase in Miami before we can officially say it's ours, with Angel Dust Donuts being our first stop.
I would love to make some serious money, but I cannot with all these fucking cops hanging around all the time demanding free donuts and coffee.
So we steal one of their police cruisers, dragging each and every cop with us as we hit checkpoints through Miami. We take a few out at this gas station, Need for Speed Most Wanted style, and then we end up luring the rest of them into this body of water. With that, we make our way back to the donut shop and pick it up for $180,000. This far into the game, I was expecting to pay a lot more than this, so it was a little bit of a relief. Our next destination is Whippet Gambling. One of the owner's clients is in a little financial trouble with him, using borrowed money to pay for things such as an expensive vehicle. And today, we're getting that vehicle back. Doing this is so much easier said than done, though. In order to take the car, you've got to stun the driver. And the driver only stays stunned for a very brief period of time, meaning your window of opportunity is extremely low. Anyway, low doesn't mean zero. The owner of this dingy little gambling operation wants a whopping $2.7 million. I have more money than I know what to do with at this point, so we make this guy's day and buy his business. From here, we head over to the Peninsula Gentleman's Lounge to deal with the owner of this joint's problems. Really, Tony's like a modern day Superman. She has a dirty cop who's been pushing her around for money, and she's tired of it. With him and a few of his friends out of the way, she wants $7.2 million for the lounge. And I just don't quite have that right now. All it took was a couple drug runs though, and we had more than 20 million again. I took the float plane back into North Beach and stopped by the Peninsula Lounge to make the purchase. In quick succession, I went down to Stein Jewelry to try to convince the owner, who is definitely Mr. Stein, into letting us into the jewelry game. This one's kind of a cluster. He's tired of the place being robbed, so we have to go to the bank on his behalf. Once we get there, the same people who've been robbing his jewelry store are robbing the bank. With one member left, we follow it to their hideout, which is a parking garage, and we remove them. Like, from existence. Mr. Stein wants 10.8 million, Mr. Stein gets 10.8 million. And from here, the last business in the game is in our sights. Coco's Lounge and Disco. And this woman is not very liked by her community. She is being actively hunted down. We have to keep all these gang members from getting too close to her, or... Anyway, that's just an alternate reality. In this one, Coco wants $11.7 million for this joint, which we're able to dig up after running just one route around Miami. With that, the Montana sign goes up, and we've officially taken over every single business in the game. From here, my only goal was to garner enough reputation to take over Dpurdd Storage and call North Beach mine. Taking over Dpurdd Storage is as easy as knocking out gang member after gang member, letting your friends in to help you, and then bringing down their attack helicopters. At this point, North Beach is ours. The entirety of Miami is ours. But it's not over yet.
I got something on down that I could use your help with. This is serious.
What you got, man? I got 9 lives, okay? Nothing can touch me now.
The Colombians have been trying to move in on my operation for years. I've always managed to keep them off my shit, but the politics seem to have worn off on them. They've been threatening my plantation workers, and recently one of them was killed in a dispute. I'm declaring war on them, Tony.
This bodes well with nobody because the Sandman is now a part of our empire. We gracefully pull up to meet the Sandman and help him defend his plantation. We learn that the Ortega cartel has taken over the Sandman's lab in Tranquilandia. This one is unlike any other mission we've played thus far, having us run through the jungles of Colombia collecting drug packages from camps and freeing hostages. The setting made it feel way different than the Scarface game we've been playing. This was incredibly refreshing, although I will say it took me more times than I want to admit to complete this. Finally, we had all 10 of the Sandman's packages, and like Tyler Oliveira, it was time to escape the island. From here, we head over to the dock by the Sandman's plantation, and our captions just started bugging out. Anyway, the Sandman is talking crazy about how he wants to give the plantation to Tony because it'll complete his empire.
You have done a lot for me, and now it's about time that I help you.
What you got in mind, man?
I want to sell my plantation to you, Tony. You can own the biggest source of product this side of Colombia.
With that, we head back to the mansion for the final time to obtain Reputation Level 8, unlocking everything that was previously locked.
You should have died a long time ago, Tony. You want a war with me, you fucking little monkey? I'll give you a war you will never forget.
We pack into the float plane and make our way for Bolivia, where Sosa, Sheffield, and Gaspar are hanging out. This seems like the perfect place to get justice.
Montana's been a fly on our shit ever since you sent your hit squad to Miami. Since then, he's been on a goddamn mission to personally fuck us in the ass.
We make our way through Sosa's goons, taking out each and every one of them before we run into Sheffield.
Tony, baby, hey, come on. You need to think about this. You gotta think a little more.
Fuck you, George, you fucking worm.
Put the fucking gun away. What are you, crazy? Why are you on drugs? Well, yeah, I guess. Okay, well.
Prepare to fucking die.
We end up taking him out execution style before blowing up the front door to Sosa's mansion and sliming Gaspar. And right next door to the room Gaspar's life is ended in, we find Sosa, and we're able to...
Have a nice trip, Sosa, you stupid fuck.
And with that, the world is ours. So, does Scarface The World Is Yours stand the test of time? Well, this game isn't perfect. As we experienced, its mission structure can get repetitive, the driving isn't always great, cars can feel slippery and downright awkward at high speeds, running drugs from the islands, which is a key component in money making, is pretty anticlimactic. The surveillance system and henchmen you pick up for your fronts are sorta useless. Hell, Tony doesn't even know how to jump, which I didn't even mention until now. Regardless, none of that stops this from delivering offering one of the most immersive, authentic, and satisfying crime empire experiences not just on the 6th generation, but ever created. Despite its flaws, despite it being a licensed movie tie-in, this game truly had no business being as good as it was. As a fan of Scarface, being able to play an extension of the universe where Tony doesn't die but rebuilds his empire back up from square one, and then gets revenge on those who wronged him, it's a treat. What's great about it though is that you don't need to have seen the movie to enjoy this. The game stands completely on its own, telling a version of Tony's story that's easy to follow whether you're familiar with the movie or not. So, does Scarface: The World Is Yours stand the test of time? Yes. Yes, it does.